What's going on, guys? Welcome back to bullgearrc videos. Now today we are going to be carrying on with the budget build versus the no budget builds, and we're going to get some work done on this. I don't have all the parts to complete this truck yet, but we do have a bunch. We have the hot racing aluminum skid plate. We have the hot racing, these are the aluminum front and rear adjustable shock towers. It looks like electronics tray. We have the aluminum transmission case. We have front and rear hot racing aluminum axles. We have brass C-hubs. We have front and rear brass diff covers. We have the aluminum servo mount, and we have the Reefs 99 steering servo. So we're going to install all this stuff today into the no budget build, and we're going to see how long it takes. We're going to see, you know, if I run into any issues or whatever, but we're going to do everything except for the suspension and steering links, because, well, I just can't find those yet. But anyway, instead of just having a pile of parts sitting here waiting, we're just going to go ahead and install what we have and get this thing closer to being done. So let's get at it. Y'all didn't think I was going to make you watch me build this whole thing, did you? All right, so we got most of these parts installed on here, guys. Not all of them. And I just wanted to show you what I did, and I do have comments to make. But yeah, we've got the axles, the brass, the front and rear. We have the rear shock mounts, not the front shock mounts. I'm gonna comment about that. And we also don't have the transmission housing installed, and I'm gonna comment about that. The Reefs 99 went in there pretty easily. I did have to do a little trimming. I had to trim the ears off the side. I just left the bottom ones on there, and we did trim a little bit out of the back of the hot racing steering servo mount. But one thing I found out about the Reefs 99, guys, is it does not play well with these stock plastic links. It could care less about these stock plastic links, and you know, there is something we could do to tighten these up. We could put some O-rings underneath here and kind of stiffen this up a little bit, but this Reefs will just bend these links. It doesn't respect them in any way, shape, or form. So far as the axles, the C-hubs, the brass diff covers, all this stuff went together perfectly, man. I mean, it was really nice, really good looking stuff. The skid plate went in perfectly. Where I did run into problems, guys, was the biggest issue, I think, is this right here. When I put the gears in this thing, and if you notice, the bearing seats, there's no adjustment to that. It just, they are where they are. And when I put this thing together, I put the bearings in, I put the gears in, I put it together, and the gear mesh was not good. It wasn't equal. Halfway around it would roll smooth, then it would come up tight, and it didn't want to, you know, you could hear the gears. And I couldn't figure out why that was, because like I said, there isn't any real adjustment here. So you put the bearings in and they are where they are. So anyway, when I went to put the motor plate on here, all the bolt holes lined up perfectly, but this top bearing seat or cup or whatever you'd like to call it, where this bearing goes up here, this did not line up with the hole in the motor plate. And to get it to fit, I had to wind up on the motor plate. I filed on this side of where this bearing cup or retainer or seat or whatever you want to call it is, to get it to go in the hole. And when I put the motor on, pinion spur, it just amplified the gear noise and the you know, the sticking. It just wasn't working out. So I took it back apart. I put the stock transmission case back on. Everything smooth as silk. So I don't know if anybody else has had issues with these, but you know, this doesn't work. I mean, I don't know if it's just this one or if they're all like that, but it don't work. So this part, in my opinion, was money wasted. The second issue I had was with this thing. This is your front shock towers or shock mounts and electronics mount. And what I found with this was I could get this hole, and this hole to line up. This hole would not line up with my chassis rail. Now I don't know if the issue is here, because everything appears to be square, or if the issue is in my chassis rail. So I'm going to try to put this in a different truck and see if it will fit in that truck, or to see if the problem is in here or if it's in this chassis rail, but something wouldn't work. So you know, I did leave the screws loose enough so I could kind of rack this over a little bit and get the screw in. And what happened when I did this, I hooked the shocks, everything up to it, and this front suspension it didn't want to move. It was, you know, it would stick, it would hang up. It just wasn't good. And then as I was looking at it, what I discovered was, even though everything seems to look square, I guess by racking it to get this thing to line up with the bolt hole, my shock on this side was probably 1/8 of an inch away from the frame rail, which is good, but the shock on this side was touching the frame rail. So somehow this thing was racking my whole truck. I just don't, like I said, I don't know if it's something to do with this or something to do with the chassis rails. So I had to take it back out. I put the stock axial part back in. Everything works great. So yeah, we'll try this one out in a different truck and see what happens. But this truck did not like this part. So yeah, we're still on the fence with this one. Now on the bright side, I guess, these are the stock diff covers for the aluminum axles, you know, for the no budget build. But since I put the brass covers on, these are just kind of extra parts, and which means that basically these are free parts. So these, I think I'll just stick on the no budget build for a little bit of free bling. And you know, it's aluminum, the other ones are plastic, so I guess it would be an upgrade too. So anyway, that's where we're at, guys. I did just want to mention that to you and let you know what my experience with these hot racing parts are so far. And until next time, guys, old Uncle Lee, bullgearrc video said, I'll see ya.